Abate, to lessen in intensity. For example, the storm finally began to abate. Benevolent, showing kindness. For instance, her benevolent smile reassured everyone. Candid, honest and straightforward. His candid remarks surprised the audience. Diligent, showing careful and persistent work. An example would be, she is a diligent student who always meets deadlines. Eloquent, fluent and persuasive in speaking. For example, the president gave an eloquent speech. Furtive, secretive or sneaky. His furtive glances made me suspicious. Gregarious, sociable and outgoing. For instance, he is very gregarious and enjoys parties. Humble, modest or not arrogant. Despite his fame, he remains humble. Innocuous, harmless or not likely to offend. For example, the comment was innocuous and did not upset anyone. Jubilant, feeling great joy. For example, the team was jubilant after winning the championship. Keen, very interested or enthusiastic. For example, she has a keen interest in classical music. Lethargic, feeling sluggish or lacking energy. For example, he felt lethargic after staying up too late. Meticulous, showing great attention to detail. For example, the artist was meticulous in his work. Nimble, quick and light in movement. For example, the dancer was as nimble as a cat. Obsolete, no longer in use. For example, typewriters have become obsolete with modern computers. Plausible, seemingly reasonable or probable. For instance, her explanation was plausible and convincing. Quaint, attractively unusual or old-fashioned. Like the village had a quaint charm with its historic buildings. Resilient, able to recover quickly from difficulties. For example, she is resilient and bounced back from the setback. Solemn, serious and earnest. For instance, the ceremony was held in a solemn manner. Tangible, perceptible by touch. Like the tension in the room was tangible. Ubiquitous, present everywhere. For example, smartphones are ubiquitous in today's society. Vibrant, full of energy and life. For instance, the market was vibrant with color and activity. Wary, cautious and watchful. An example would be, he was wary of strangers. Xenial, hospitable or friendly to strangers. For example, the host was xenial and made everyone feel welcome. Yearn, to have a strong desire for something. For instance, she yearned for a peaceful life. Zealous, showing great enthusiasm. An example would be, the zealous fan followed the band on every tour. Adept, very skilled at something. For example, she is adept at solving complex problems. Banal, lacking originality. For instance, the movie was criticized for its banal plot. Capricious, given to sudden changes in mood. For example, his capricious nature made him hard to predict. Dissonant, lacking harmony. For instance, the dissonant chords in the music were jarring. Evasive, avoiding direct answers. For example, he gave evasive responses during the interview. Frivolous, not having any serious purpose. For instance, she spent her money on frivolous items. Genuine, truly what something is said to be. Example, his apology was genuine and heartfelt. Harsh, unpleasantly rough or severe. Example, the critic's review was harsh and unkind. Impetuous, acting quickly without thought. Example, his impetuous decision led to trouble. Judicious, having good judgment. Example, she made a judicious choice in her investments. Keen, sharp or perceptive. Example, his keen sense of observation was impressive. Luminous, giving off light. Example, the moon was luminous in the night sky. 39. Mundane, lacking interest or excitement. For example, the job became mundane and repetitive. 40. Nostalgic, longing for the past. For instance, the old photos made her feel nostalgic. 41. Ominous, giving the impression that something bad is going to happen. Like the dark clouds looked ominous. 42. Pragmatic, dealing with things sensibly. For example, his pragmatic approach solved the issue efficiently. 43. Quixotic, exceedingly idealistic. For instance, his quixotic plans for world peace were admirable. 44. Robust, strong and healthy. For example, the robust economy showed signs of growth. 45. Subtle, delicate or precise. For example, the artist used subtle colors in the painting. 46. Turbulent, characterized by conflict or disorder. For example, the turbulent sea made sailing difficult. 47. Unkempt, messy, or untidy. For example, his unkempt appearance was due to the long travel. 48. Vexing, causing annoyance or frustration. For example, the problem was vexing and hard to solve. 49. Whimsical, playfully quaint or fanciful. For example, the whimsical design of the room was charming. 50. Yielding, giving way under pressure. For example, the yielding material was easy to shape. Adversity, difficulties or misfortune. For example, she overcame adversity with great courage. Brevity, conciseness in speech or writing. For instance, the brevity of the speech made it impactful. Concur, to agree or have the same opinion. For example, I concur with your assessment of the situation. Defiant, showing resistance or disobedience. For instance, the child was defiant and refused to comply. Exquisite, extremely beautiful and delicate. For example, the vase was an exquisite piece of art. Forbearance, patient self-control. For instance, he showed forbearance despite the challenges. Glimpse, a brief or fleeting view. For example, she caught a glimpse of the celebrity. Hypothetical, based on an assumption. For example, the discussion was based on a hypothetical scenario. Immaculate, perfectly clean or tidy. For example, the room was immaculate after the cleaning. Jovial, cheerful and friendly. For example, his jovial nature made him popular at parties. Knotty, complex or difficult. For example, the knotty problem required a lot of thought. Lethargy, lack of energy. For example, the heat caused a feeling of lethargy. 63. Melancholy, a deep, persistent sadness. For example, the film had a melancholy tone. 64. Noble, having high moral qualities. For example, his noble actions earned him respect. 65. Opaque, not able to be seen through, unclear. For example, the window was opaque with dirt. 66. Pristine, in its original condition, unspoiled. For example, the beach remained pristine despite the tourists. 67. Quaint, charmingly old-fashioned. Example, the quaint village had a unique charm. 68. Recluse, a person who lives a solitary life. Example, the writer was known as a reclusive figure. 69. Serene, calm, peaceful. Example, the lake was serene in the early morning. 70. Transient, temporary, short-lived. Example, the transient nature of the storm was reassuring. 71. Uplift, to raise or improve. Example, her words of encouragement helped uplift his spirits. 72. Voracious, eager or greedy in consuming something. Example, he had a voracious appetite for books. 73. Wistful, longing or yearning. Example, she looked at the old photographs with a wistful smile. 74. Xenophobic, having a fear of strangers or foreigners. Example, the town's xenophobic attitudes were evident.